Good morning, all souls. Good morning. Welcome to The Point. At The Point, humanists, atheists, agnostics all gather in community. No matter where you're from, who you love, what you believe, you are welcome here. I'm Reverend Randy Lewis, and I'm joined on the chancel today by our senior minister, Reverend Marlin Lavanhar, and we're so glad to be with you in service this morning on New Member Recognition Sunday. And for those online, welcome. Those who are watching from all over the world, we're so glad that you've joined us today. Now, if you're a first-time guest with us today or new to All Souls, we have a gift for you. Now, our ushers are on the outside aisles, and they're coming down. Just wave your hand so they'll know where you are, and we'll have a gift for you. Also, we invite you after the service to a special meet and greet if you're first time or new to All Souls. It is right in the Sonnin Library outside the sanctuary doors. To your left there, it's a chance to meet one of our Welcoming Souls team members and a chance to get to know this community and a chance for us to get to know you. And for those online, please remain till after service, coffee hour conversations immediately after the service. Now, if you will, join me in saying our covenant that's printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is a great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. Our chalice has been lit today by Jerry Gillian. Now, Jerry is a longtime Unitarian and just new member and just relocated here from Oregon. She's participated in our Wellsprings small group ministry and is really excited about being a part of this community. We welcome Jerry.
We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature, and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains.
Are still with us in the service, and I love to speak to all ages. And I want to talk about how somebody knows that they're a part of this community. And there's a couple of different ways that somebody knows. One is and that they belong here, and one is that when babies are born or children become a part of this community, we have a ceremony that we call a baby dedication or a child dedication, where a child comes forward and the parents will say the name of that child, and then we will say some words back and forth about how we're going to support this child, and it's just a beautiful ceremony to welcome a child into the life of our community. So that's one way. Are there anybody here who was dedicated in this congregation in that way, who had a naming ceremony? Anybody? I see one hand back there. All right. Oh, yeah, two. I know you two. I remember, in fact. Anybody? Any parents who've had your children dedicated here at All Souls? Okay, a number. Not as many in the humanist service, which makes sense. It is a little newer in the humanist service, although we have done them here as well. And then we have our coming of age at 9th grade, because when a child is welcomed into the community, they don't necessarily know what they're consenting to, especially babies and little children. So what we say as part of the ceremony is that when you reach the age, we say age of discretion, when you out of your own heart and out of your own mind can acknowledge the meaning of this ceremony and the meaning of your life and what it means to give back in service and love to the community, invite your child back to acknowledge that. And so that's what we do in the 9th grade year. It's the best year of our Sunday school. So if you have a 9th grader or know of a 9th grader, or you're going into 9th grade, I highly encourage you to be part of our coming of age program. It's phenomenal. I'm a part of it, Randy. We all get involved. It's great for the parents too, and who also we work with the parents. And at the end, it culminates in the spring with our coming of age Sunday when our 9th graders speak to us about what they believe. It's really, really amazing. If you haven't been to one, people say it's their favorite service of the year. And I try not to take that personally, since they're like, wait, what about all the other services that I'm in charge of? So, but it's beautiful when they speak to us. And the other way is, as adults, people join All Souls, and then a few times a year, we have a ceremony where we bring the new members forward and we welcome them. All of the ceremonies have a flower involved in one way or another, yellow for the new member ceremony. So right now, we're going to welcome new members into All Souls. I think there's 8 maybe here and 2 online. So we're going to welcome everybody who is a new member who's joined. We had 150 people join last year. We've had another 32 join since April. And so it's that group since April who have joined and have not been part of one of these celebrations. Please come on forward now as the music plays, and Randy and I look forward to welcoming you into and you all have a part in welcoming them into. All right, look at this. What a crew. And we welcome. We're so glad that you are joining a part, helping us to expand our community with your lives, your interests, your values, everything that you represent. The Holseys are here. We thought you'd be online today, so we were all ready to bless you through the camera, But we're so glad that you're here so we can welcome you in person. And also, I just want to say, we read the covenant at the beginning of the service, a covenant of love and service to the world and to one another. And that's what it means to join. People say, what does it mean to join All Souls? What it means is you're joining the covenant, which it's a promise that we make to how we're going to live together in community. A lot of, maybe all, or most religions are joined together by belief. And it's a creed or a belief or a dogma that says we're all, Mormon or we're all Methodist or whatever because we all believe this thing the same. We don't believe the same. We have many beliefs within this community, and we have many questions and skepticism and all the rest, and we welcome it all. So what binds us is this promise we make. It's an ethic of how we're going to live together. And so welcoming you into the community is welcoming you into the covenant, which means we all have a part because we're all a part of this promise with each other. So Randy's going to get us started.
So today we formally welcome you, our new members here in Tulsa and online, for those who may have stayed on from the last service. We welcome you into a covenant of love and service that binds us together. So will you, new members, honor our covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another? And if so, please say, I will.
I will.
All right, and now to the congregation. As our community grows, Do you reaffirm your commitment to the covenant of love and service that binds us together? If so, please say, we do. And now, will you welcome these new members into your life, into this community, into your heart? Well, one of us will not, apparently. But everyone else does. I'm not sure we got that all straight, but that was fun. So, will you welcome these new members into our community to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth together in love, and to help them when they are in need? If so, please say, I will. I will. Beautiful, you heard that. And now to all of us, members together in this community that joins our lives and our families through the ups and the downs, the good times, the difficult times. Let us remember that a covenant, it's a promise that we make to each other, and none of us are perfect. It's a practice that we try to live out day in and day out, week in and week out together. And when we falter or fail in living our covenant, which sometimes we do, will you take responsibility? Will you take responsibility to seek forgiveness and begin again in love? If so, please say, I will.
I will.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, now, the roses. Please say your name.
Connie Holst.
Connie Hulse. I welcome you into the fellowship of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life.
Would you please say your name?
Mikhail Henderson.
Mikhail Henderson. I welcome you into the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good work of this world all the days of your life.
Please state your name.
Gary Hulse.
Gary Hulse. I welcome you into the fellowship of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life. Welcome.
Will you state your name?
Aisha Henderson.
Aisha Henderson. I welcome you to the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good work of this world all the days of your life.
Please say your name.
Zachariah Schramm.
Zachariah Schramm, I welcome you into the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life.
Please say your name.
Amber Mason.
Amber Mason, I welcome you to the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good work of this world all the days of your life.
Please say your name.
Sydney Moxley.
Sydney Moxley, I welcome you into the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life.
Please say your name.
Joan Bjornsgaard.
Joan Bjornsgaard.
Yes.
Yes. I welcome you to the family of all souls. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good work of this world all the days of your life. Thank you.
Beautiful. And now Rick has a special song for you.
May you dare to dream dreams. May you dare to speak the truth. May you know your power to act. May love be your guide. May you walk with head held high. May your heart praise earth and sky. May you see life's gift to you. May love be your guide.
With love as your guide, I invite you to join the congregation, and I invite our children now who are going to Sunday school class you can also go now and follow your teachers to the Sunday school and be blessed. All right. I love these guys.
That's
Love these guys. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I want us to take a moment. We've just exchanged this meaningful sense of connection between all of us, our lives, our families. And so I want us to take a moment in silence just to kind of soak in what that means. I mean, so many people in this day and age are yearning for connection. They're yearning for community, like authentic community, where they can bring their whole self, they can bring their mind, they can bring their sexuality, they can bring their family, they can bring their children and not worry that their children's heads are going to be filled with fear. So here we are. We've got this place together. Even, folks who believe and don't believe, and agnostics and atheists and everybody together. I mean, it's truly a special thing. So I don't want the moment to pass, because life passes quickly and then it's gone. But we're sitting in a moment of great joy and great possibility, where connection is growing in our lives. So I want us to take a moment in silence to honor that. And before we do, I want to mention our member Leanna Fish, whose father, Edwin, has gone on hospice. And so we're thinking of you, Leanna. We're thinking of J.P. Morton, one of our teenagers who just achieved the Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts, which only 6% of the Scouts make it to that point. And we're real proud of him. And also, I want to acknowledge my wife, because this week we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. So. I could not do this job without her, I'll tell you that. She's just such a wonderful support to me and to all of us here in this community. With that, let us take a moment of silence just to truly breathe in, breathe out, feel the breath of life coming in, and just appreciate the moment, appreciate being alive and having this moment of connection together. Together, I'm really thankful for our ASL interpreters who are volunteering their time at this point to just help make our community more inclusive and welcoming to everybody. So welcome to all who are here, because we have this opportunity. Today, Reverend Randy Lewis here, my good friend, my brother, we decided to have a dialogue. We wanted to know what your questions are at the beginning of a new kind of school year or year together. We wanted to see what your questions are. So people have been emailing questions to us and putting it in the comments online. We've tried to solicit as many as we can. And we answered a number in the last service at 10, but we didn't get to the last two. So we're going to start with the last two so that we make sure we answer those, and any more that we that we don't get to, we'll post about it or write about it or try to do a message maybe. So we want to know what what's relevant to your lives. So we may do more of these kind of dialogue messages as the year goes on. If people seem to like them, we have a number of different folks who could be a part of this with us. So anyway, we start with your questions, and Lee Rumley is going to read them for us.
A number of people have questions about transgender issues, such as use of pronouns, medical care for children and youth, and regarding sports. Could you all speak to that?
So that's a great question, and it's, we see it happening all the time, even the Olympics, people were interjecting the issues into the Olympics and other things. So and obviously we can't give a long dissertation. That would be a whole message in and of itself. But so I want to just give a sense of how I orient myself to these questions to the degree that it'll be helpful to you. I think of two things. One was around pronouns. I remember my father, who's 88 years old, 5-6 years ago when more people were using pronouns, stating their pronouns and things like that. And my father is a cisgendered, straight male. From a different generation, and he had the opportunity, because he's a hospice volunteer. He was volunteering with someone who was transgender, identified as transgender, and that person explained, he really was impacted by that relationship, and he said this to me, and I thought it was really worth passing on. He said, I learned that, yeah, it's a little uncomfortable sometimes for me to say my gender pronouns or to ask somebody theirs, because I don't know how they're going to react, and it just seems different from how I've been throughout my life. He said, but what I realized was that my friend here, and anyone whose gender might be different from the what we consider have been considered norm for so long, they go through a lot of discomfort all the time. And so if I could just for me, it's like 15, 20 seconds of discomfort. And he said, I'm certainly willing to be uncomfortable for 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds in a relationship to talk about gender pronouns if it's going to help make that person's life even a little bit more comfortable and that person feel more included. And so I just thought the graciousness of that was really important, and it helped me, and I wanted to share that because I think it's true. For those of us who are what we call cisgendered, right, who continue to live with the gender that we were assigned at birth, and that we tend to feel more comfortable in the world. And there's high rates of addiction, high rates of suicide and things like that in the transgender community, or genderqueer community, non-binary, because of how society treats folks. And so I think anything that we can do to make folks' lives feel more included is worthwhile. So gender pronouns, that's an easy one. I don't know the answer to sports. I need to do more research to understand all of what it's about. But what I do know is sports was incredibly important to me growing up. I was very involved in sports. Some of my relationships with coaches, teams, individual challenges that it put me through. And I know I want that for every child who's interested in doing sports. So whatever we have to figure out to make it work, I want to make sure that sports is something that every child, every young person, every adult is able to participate in if that's what they want to. And I hope we can stay in an open conversation and figure out what's going to make the most sense going forward. That's my best thought, on those two things. And then the other thing I'll just say about gender reassignment surgeries and hormones and things, especially with young people who are not of age themselves. I know that's really controversial, and what I think about that is that I don't have a child who's transgender or non-binary, and I'm not a doctor, so I really don't know what's best, and so I don't feel like I'm the one who should be deciding for these families what to do. I think that it's up to the parents, the child, and their doctors to figure out what's best. I don't know, you want to add to that?
Yeah. Wow, so he just summed it up. I could have answered it any better, but I had some thoughts. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I still don't have an informed decision to be able to speak to that, to trans issues wholeheartedly. I do have a story I would like to tell. Maybe that would help me formulate some thoughts or kind of share where my heart may be. So when Dimitri and I were in Raleigh, we started a LGBTQ plus meetup group. And when we first started, people started attending, and there was this one awkward-looking guy. He had a bunch of tattoos. He had blue hair, but he was really shy and withdrawn. And we'd have another social event, and he'd come back again. And we'd have another one, he'd come again. And he was still shy and awkward, but as he started attending more of those meetings, he started opening up. And then we noticed him starting to wear a little bit more feminine dress. And then it was about a month or two later that he came fully in makeup, dress, and he was talking about transitioning, or now she was talking about transitioning. And she became a central part of our group. And we'd go out to places, and we know that people would be looking at her, and we were like standing guard. Like, if you say anything with her, you're gonna have to speak to all of us. We were ready to fight because we loved loved her so much. But she said something, and I read it. She said something just here a few days on Facebook that just really spoke volumes to me and Dee, and we had a conversation around it. Someone was disappointed with the group. Since we left, things have changed. But someone was disappointed with the group, and they left the group, and they were saying, this group, da. She said, she honored them. She said, I'm sorry that you feel this way, but let me tell you, this group saved my life. And it still just is heartbreaking. I mean, it just touches my heartstrings. She said, this group changed my life. And she wrote a lot of stuff about how there was no community that had surrounded her. And we did. And the reason why I brought this up is because I'm thinking we are that community here too. Because I had been a part of the LGBT community for years, but it was only here that I came out. A few years ago across this pulpit because it was the community that supported me and surrounded me and made me feel safe. So all the dialogue about pronouns and sports seems like a ruse to what's really going on in people's lives. And I want to encourage us to create a space just for people to be. And to be free and to surround them in love and let them be the best that they can be. And so I think this is what this community allows or creates, and that's what we created for that individual in Raleigh. So that's all I have to say about the matter. Okay.
What are your favorite approaches to combat racist, homophobic, transphobic talking points?
Well, you may weigh in on that one?
Jump in.
Well, and I've been preaching this, if you guys, or sharing it in my messages for the last few messages, is about dialogue and knowing that when that stuff happens, when we hear it, we see it, it's usually someone talking through their pain, through their anger, and if we can, if we're able to see their humanity through the midst of that, and try to find some common ground, some commonality to share our hearts, maybe we can get down to the main part of what's really going on. I wouldn't tell you to avoid that. I mean, for self-care, you might want to get yourself out of the situation or excuse yourself. But I would encourage all of us to find a way to stay in dialogue with people. That's what I've been sharing. It's what Marlin, we've been talking about. How do we stay at the table? And how do we change the homophobe? That's the bigger. How do we change the transphobe? How do we change them? Well, I guarantee you it must start. It'll have to start with some dialogue.
Yeah, I think that for me, it goes back to this idea that I think that the most change that I've had is true. It's through dialogue. It's through meeting people who are different from me. And then it's like, I care about that person. So it's not an abstract issue. It's the person. But I think as terms of strategies, for me, I think the biggest impact on me, besides being in a relationship with someone different from me, which is always impactful, it's actually seeing modeled people who are like me, who are open on these issues and who speak openly on the issues. Then I say, oh, I see how I can do that. And I want to be like that person. So as I would identify, or this culture would identify me, and I would identify myself as as white, straight, cisgendered male. So when I see a person who's like me, looks like me, or who I identify with in that way, speaking really openly about LGBT, is affirming about LGBT, or about race issues, or about transgender, any of those things, I find, or women, standing up for men, standing up for women, then I go, yeah, that's who I want to be in the world. That's how I want to show up in these conversations. And that's had a big impact on me. So now I try to be that kind of person when I have the opportunity to speak, both in public, but also in private conversations as well.
Yeah. And I think
That's my strategy.
just to touch upon that, when you're in conversation, to have the person that's using that homophobic language to explore how, in essence, ask them, how do you think a person hearing what you're saying might feel or interpret what you're saying? So ask them to unpack what they're saying and to connect the impact of what they're saying to someone's life. So,
I got one more.
yes.
You just made me think of that. So, but it's also for me is being open and accepting and non-judgmental to people who, when I am speaking to them, because I think there's too many people who I see, particularly in progressive circles, who it's like they just assume everybody has to, have the right, check all the boxes on I'm, super feminist and I'm LGBT friendly and I'm all those things. But how does somebody get there? And so for me, I recognize that there's a lot of people, because it took me a while to learn and have experiences to get there where I could feel as open as I am today. And so what I realize is there are a lot of people who maybe have legitimate questions that they're wrestling with about equality in different ways. And I think it's really important for me to be able to listen and accept the person and have the conversation, because nobody wants to just be told, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be, and you can't be a member of All Souls unless you're completely, woke on all these issues. I think that'd be great if we could all agree completely and we could all be in the same place, but it's a journey. And so I always want to make this a place, and I've said to people from the pulpit here that if you're struggling with trying to figure out this transgender in sports or these pronouns or this, whatever the issue is, it feels like race has, been flipped on its head, it's reverse racism. If you're having those questions, I don't want to delegitimize your question or your struggle. And I want to be a safe place and a safe person for you to be able to voice it and then begin to, as Randy was saying, say, oh yeah, okay, and then begin to think deeper about it. So that's what I'd like us all to do as a community, is be a safe place where, because otherwise people have to show up here, they have to go learn all this stuff and open their hearts completely before they even show up. Well, where's that supposed to happen? And then they walk in our door. So I want us to be a place where people's hearts can open and they can become more inclusive. But that requires us to be willing to accept people where they are and hopefully stay in dialogue so that they can grow with us.
Mm-hmm.
What religion were you raised, and how did it impact your sense of identity, both positively and negatively?
You want me to do that?
Sure. I've been talking.
Well, I was raised Baptist in my early years. Then I went to Pentecostalism, and then end up, of course, here, you. So I call myself the first ever Unibapticostal. I laugh about that. But so my Baptist and Pentecostal faith traditions were really profound for me. I had these really, really deep spiritual experiences in both of them. Now, a lot of it was connected to some trauma, deep trauma in my childhood, and the loss of a couple of my brothers who had tragic deaths, and just a lot of difficulties in my life. And religion was that sense of balance, that sense of was foundational. It was a place of safety that I would go. And so I still cherish those experiences. Now, of course, I grew intellectually, and then things started not connecting as far as my reality versus what I thought. and then I had what one might call a crisis of faith, and I left the ministry. Now, a lot of that was connected to my sexuality, and in the church, even though there was a lot of gay people in the church, they were the choirs members, they were the choir conductors, and some of them were the ministers. But they were all don't ask, don't tell. We know that's you, but don't say a word, don't come out. And so it was really suppressed. And part of that was my story is that religion, while it healed me on one big aspect, it also suppressed me in the other. And I told in the last service about being broken and had gone through this big crisis of faith and didn't know where I was going to land. And we had joined Higher Dimensions, Dimitri and I, and we were going there. We were sitting in the congregation for a couple of years, and no one ever asked us if we was part of it. They saw this white guy and this black guy with their kids. We had our families, and I know that we had to be the talk of the town, but no one ever said anything. But when we came here as a church, it was Marlin actually walked up to Dee and I and said, "Hey, are you two together?" And we didn't know how to answer that question. I looked at Dee, I said, "Yes, we are." And then he said something that was so profound, and that I tell him this, that I was away from the ministry. I left the ministry. He said, "I heard you were a Baptist preacher." I said, "Yes." "Would you consider joining our staff?" And it was at that moment that he restored my call, or gave me my call to ministry. That's the reason why I'm here today. So, yeah. So I give that to him. Otherwise, I don't know where I would be. But yes, so
That's great.
that's how it's impacted me.
Well, that's really wonderful to hear that.
Don't take it to your head. Don't let it go to your head now. Right?
No, I mean, I remember the part where when I said, "Are you two a couple?" And then there was this long silence, and I thought, "Oh, did I say the wrong thing?" Walk up to two guys and ask them if they're a couple, and it's depending on who it is. You never know how they're going to respond to that. But I try not to assume heterosexuality when I meet people. I grew up, my father was raised Jewish, my mother was raised Catholic, and they met in the 1950s, and they got married, and neither one wanted to convert, and so they went out looking for a religious home where they could go together, and both Christianity would be accepted and Judaism would be accepted, and they wouldn't, have to convert, and that their children could be raised getting positive messages about both traditions, and also learn about the world's religions and Native American spirituality, and it was open to science and evolution, and so they found the Unitarian Universalist Church back in the early 60s, and they raised me and my brother as in the Unitarian Universalist Church. So I was born and raised in this tradition, and I think it had a really positive effect on me in a lot of ways. We teach sexuality education to our teens, and that was really important to be able to learn, in an open environment, any question that we had. It's a great program. We still do that to this day, and also the openness around spirituality, and I think it became really important in the second half of my life. I was born in 1968. As our country started to open up in a different way. I mean, I was still raised in the 70s, educated in the 70s and 80s. We were still learning the white men's history of the world. All the great things that white men, whether it's Freud or Marx or Shakespeare or, just the whole list. And that we were still taught in grade school that the Pilgrims and the Native peoples got together and had a big party, and we created this lovely, love fest together. And so it was only in the 90s and then in the early 2000s that we started to question these things. And I think it was really helpful for me to be in a community where I was able to grow and learn that accepted openly LGBT folks and affirmed women as equal and really strove for racial justice and equality. That it really helped me be in this landing place as all that change has been happening. And it's continued, through Black Lives Matter and to this day, marriage equality. And so it's continued, and I'm just glad to have this kind of an environment. I would say that on the negative, because that was part of the question, I think that the piece that I had to work through was that at least in the generation that I was raised, I think it's still true today. It's still the biggest flaw of Unitarian Universalists can be that we can become arrogant and think that we're a superior, like that all these other religious people don't know what they're doing. We've got it figured out. Like we know what's right. And I think that that's probably the biggest error that we can fall into in our tradition, or the biggest hypocrisy that we can fall into. And so, you know, as I've learned, as I've grown and had more exposure to different people and different religions, I've realized there's a lot of very intelligent people, very loving people who are following lots of different religious paths. And so I've learned that there's many ways to be religious, and just because there's certain fundamentalists who are really rigid and narrow and can be very controlling, that's just one slice of the religious pie. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing I've learned is to be open to people having different religious approaches and really, truly accepting them. Not just saying I accept them, but really finding that acceptance.
Beautiful.
In most religions, women have been relegated to a lower status, instructed by their leaders to listen to the guidance from males. As males, please talk to All Souls members about equality of females in UU ministry. How do you view the spirituality of the divine feminine?
So I'll touch upon as far as women in UU ministry. Of course, my observation, I'm sure Marlin can speak more to that, is that there's a lot of women in authority in this movement, and they do own their space, a lot of them. So they will not let a guy run them over in many instances. This is what I have noticed. But from my own tradition, women have been the backbone of our families. It was my grandmother, my aunt, my mom. And in many instances, it's not all the case, all cases, but men were absent in in my family they were, and in a lot of my close relatives and community, the men were wherever they were. Some of them in prison, some of them just were absent. But it was the women that were always the ones that was the voice of God in the instance, you know, that divine, they had that final authority. And so, I mean, even in church, you know, the preachers would say, oh, the man is supposed to run the household. I've heard that so many times. And the women would say, yes, that's true. But I know who ran the household. We all know who ran the household. It was the women. And they would have the final say. So, like I said in the last service, women, they were God. They are God to me, right? Women, you're God.
Wow.
You're that
All
divine.
Right. All right. So there's two-part question. So the first one about Unitarian Universalist ministry, women in Unitarian Universalist ministry. We struggled with all the same patriarchal values that our culture has struggled with. I think we've always been a little bit ahead of the curve as a religious group, but it took time to have women ministers and then to, fully accepted. I will say that the first woman ordained by a denomination in the United States of America was Olympia Brown, who was ordained by the Universalist Church of America back in the 19th century. So I'm really, we can claim that, which is one good thing. And today, over 50% of our Unitarian Universalist ministers are female, are women. So that's pretty amazing where we've come over the time, and they're incredible leaders, including the president of our national association as well, Sophia Bentoncourt, is an incredible leader and a woman. Then it asks about the divine feminine, and I love that question, because when you think about it, before Christianity, came and dominated so much of the religious world, particularly through the West and through parts of Asia and Africa, women, the goddess was worshipped. Greek culture and African cultures and lots, there was the women. You see goddess statues that they uncover in these archaeological digs and things like that. And it makes sense, right? That women, what's going to be the symbol of creating new life, creation and new life and nurturing new life is women. It makes it just biological. If you're looking for a metaphor, women are the ones through whom life comes. And so, but with Christianity and then later with Islam, there was this suppression of the female idea of the divine. And so the patriarchy became really strong and reinforced across our culture. For me, I learned about the divine feminine a lot when I lived for 2 years in Kyoto, Japan, and then for 2 years I was traveling through Asia and studying religion, and in the Hindu tradition, they have a lot of goddesses as part of their tradition, and so I learned a lot about the divine feminine from the Hindu and the Eastern traditions. Kuan Yin in Buddhism is another example in Buddhism. But I will say that in Christianity, in our Western tradition, I do like what the Catholic Church does with Mother Mary, because Mother Mary becomes, very significant, can be in that tradition. And I think that's, when I finally realized that you could read the Bible without reading it literally, that these are stories that could teach us something, I remember thinking, well, it's pretty darn significant that if God decided to come into the world, right, according to the story. Now, again, I'm taking this as metaphor, but so the story's saying that when God decides to come into the world, God chooses a woman, chooses not just any woman, a poor woman, a brown woman, a woman in a rural, like nowhere, who's not even educated. So God, you could think about it. They could have told the story that God came through a queen, or some great dignified woman that's, held up in esteem in some aristocratic family. But this tradition tells people, no, God came into the world through the most humble of people. And I think it says a great deal about the divine feminine and the role of women. And the other thing I'll just say that's a more modern thing, this isn't about divinity so much, but I've been really taken by the fact that this is not I'm not making a political point here, no matter how you think of these political figures. I'm just saying that across the board, there are many people on both sides of the aisle right now in the United States who I've heard them say Nancy Pelosi is the best Speaker of the House this country has ever had. There's a lot of respect for her as a leader. Even if they disagree, they're like, boy, she got stuff done. She was an incredible leader. She could move power. So my point in this is, again, not a political point. My point is this. She's the first female Speaker of the House that we've had in this country. For how many generations and how many centuries did we keep women out of politics? Couldn't even vote until the 1920s. And then out of politics and out of leadership. And then when we finally have the first, she becomes the best, arguably the best we've ever had. So I think that I'm hoping that her example, among many others that we see in our society today, are helping us realize, oh my gosh, we need to recognize that women are as good of leaders, and some guys better leaders than the men, and that we need to leave open equality. Otherwise, we're missing out on half of the best of what we have as a culture. Is that all we have time for? All right. Well, I want to thank Randy. Randy is, I couldn't ask for a better partner in ministry than Randy. And also, I want to let you all know that starting next Sunday, we're bringing a female minister on board, an amazing minister. Yes, you can applaud that, absolutely. Her name is Reverend Dr. Nicole Kirk, and she's been an ordained Unitarian minister for about 20 plus years. She's served congregations. She's currently teaching in our seminary in Chicago, where she's a history professor. She's brilliant. She's very talented. She's very likable and lovable. She's going to actually deliver the message next Sunday, so come on out next Sunday if you want to meet her for the first time. But she's only part-time with us because she's still teaching classes, but bringing her voice and her presence. And since I came 24 years ago, we've always had a female minister as part of our ministry team, and we had 1 year, the last year was the first year where we didn't, and we really felt the absence of that voice and that perspective on our team, so we're really thankful. So I hope you'll welcome Nicole Kirk when she comes next Sunday and for the rest of this year.
Yes.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. on moving forward, never turning back, never turning back. You're welcome to sing if you want. Gonna keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, never turning back, never turning back.
What else now?
I wonder, Rick, I know you have a nice little clap that you like to do. And there may be some people who would clap with us. You've got some rhythm, people. Respect. Keep on moving proudly. Come on. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on loving boldly. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Where is it? Here we go. Keep on loving boldly.
Keep on loving boldly.
Yeah, I hear some voices. Yeah.
That's right.
Never turning back.
I'm hearing.
Woo! Never turning. Keep on moving forward. Come on. Gonna keep on moving forward. I'm hearing something.
I hear you.
This is beautiful. Come on.
Thank you, Sally.
Never turning back.
Beautiful.
Hey, Rick, show them that clap again, would you? Yeah. One more time. Good job. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful. All right. Starting to feel a lot like church in here. Be careful now.
I know,
Be careful
no.
now.
It's just a it's a concert.
But I love the, I can feel the vibration in my hands clapping, and we need that vibration to carry us forward, because we really are talking about taking, what we're doing is we are taking the human project of being human on this earth, and we're saying we can be more. We can be more loving. We can be more inclusive. We can be more connected. We can give people more freedom. And so we're pushing that edge as a community. And so in order to do that, we need song, and we need that vibration and that energy and that joyfulness. So thank you for bringing the joy. I appreciate our musicians for bringing a lot of joy into our lives. Another way that we try to contribute to making the world reflect what we want it to be is we give away our collection plate every week to an organization doing good work. And the Blue House at the University of Tulsa is an interfaith ministry that's affirming of LGBTQ plus folks and of people of many spiritualities, including agnostic and atheist and humanist. So we support them so that young people coming to college for the first time from all over Oklahoma and the country will have a place where they can go to nurture their spirit. So please give generously as the plate comes around in just a moment. It'll be for the Little Blue House. And just put in, if you're writing a check, put offering in the memo, and that will get where you want it to go. And if you do want to make a pledge payment to the church, because we can do this because our members contribute to keep the lights on here. If your check is going to All Souls, just write church in the memo so we know it gets where you want it to go. All right, with that, a couple quick announcements. And there's a new, if you're new to All Souls, if you're visiting or new to All Souls, in the Sonnen Library, which is just out the door to the left, we have some refreshments and some folks to greet you and answer your questions and welcome you. We're so glad you came to join us today, and we hope that you will come meet me and Randy and some others, and we'll answer your questions about how this place, All Souls, came about and why you're here and what you're looking for. Also, Emerson Hall's open with refreshments and a bookstore and opportunities to sign up for different things. So, a chance to create community. There's a Let's Chat conversation happening at a table there if you want to talk more about the subjects of our message today and meet some other people. You're welcome to just sit down and chat with others. Also, you can sign up to be part of our pickleball tournament. We're having it first time ever, pickleball. So anyone here play pickleball? Any pickleball players? A few people. All right, a couple. All right. So this message is for you. Check out the pickleball table out there because it used to be a golf tournament, but fewer and fewer people play golf. More and more people play pickleball. So we're trying to do that this time as a different way of going about it. All right. The last thing I want to let you know about before we take up our offering, we have our homecoming is September 8th. It's in 2 weeks. It's going to be a big, not only service, but we're going to have food and games on the lawn and bounce house for the kids, and it's going to be really fun. So September 8th, bring your friends, bring your neighbors, come on out, and let's have a big party. We're going to have food for everybody, and it's going to be really fun, September 8th. But the last one is, we are starting a consciousness inclusion program and initiative that's starting in September, which is an opportunity for us to engage together on questions of race and identity. And it's going to be amazing. It's a 9-month program that everybody's invited to be a part of. We're going to start out in the fall in, folks of color meeting together, folks who are racialized as white by our culture are going to meet together, and then in the fall, and then in the winter and spring, we're going to come together and meet across racial identities and grow together. So it's a phenomenal opportunity. You don't get many opportunities, especially in such an open and safe space, to have these conversations. I hope you'll sign up for our Conscious Inclusion program this September and be a part of it with us. With that, I want you, as the offering baskets come around, Rick Fortner and Dimitri Sobel, who is Reverend Randy's husband, are going to sing, get this, the Ukrainian national anthem in honor of Ukrainian Independence Day, which was celebrated yesterday. So they've been fighting for their independence. I mean, their independence is not, given. They're having a fight and scrap for it. So thank you for honoring them. Let us all honor them as we now receive this morning's offering. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. What you might not know about Dmitry is that he's also Russian. And so that gives it even more. Belarusian. I know it's Belarusian, really, right? Belarusian. And his mother's Ukrainian? Look at that. So that's how close all these folks are, you know, and it's incredible. But it means a lot that you sang that song for us today. Hey, I hope that you go forth into this day, into this new week, into this new school year and everything else that's starting up right now. I hope you go and you bring some of the vibration from our clapping and our singing and the meaning of what we're doing. Take it out there in this world. It needs, this world needs people who are living full lives and bringing their whole, honest, authentic selves forward, and who are willing to stand up for those who are vulnerable, stand up for those who might not be accepted. So go do your thing, be you, and know that you are loved and that you can always come back here and get support and be held and be strengthened, and know that your showing up here helps to uphold and strengthen others. So it really matters that you're here, and we're so grateful to you. So go out, may your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life. Go and be loved and be loving. Thank you.